Cyber attacks are getting smarter, faster, and harder to stop, especially in the cloud. For MSPs, staying ahead of these threats isn't just important, it's essential. Today, we're diving into how ThreatER is helping businesses and partners fight back with automated defense and cutting-edge threat intelligence. I'm Sydney Neely, and joining me are Brian McMahon and Shayna Jackson from ThreatER to discuss how their solutions are reshaping the way MSPs protect their clients. How you two?
Good, how are you?
Doing great, and so glad to have you both here with us. Now let's start with our first segment. Understanding cloud security threats. Cloud vulnerabilities and firewall weaknesses seem to be common targets for attackers. Brian, what are some of the biggest vulnerabilities businesses should be aware of?
Yeah, thanks for having us. So really there's two things that we would call out. The first is, there is definitely a kind of a general perception in the industry that, cloud attacks are only happening on port 80 and 443. Well, that's simply not the case. And I think, we've got tons of demonstrable data to prove that. But the bottom line is, cloud attacks are happening way, way, way beyond kind of, ports 80 and 443, and there's a lot of things you can do to kind of defend against that. The second is, there's definitely a misperception in the industry around kind of the role of the firewall, right? So a lot of people think that the firewall is, protecting their attack surface, and sometimes forgetting that the firewall is actually part of their attack surface, right? So, this idea that, I have a firewall, so therefore I'm protected, you have to actually, protect your firewall as well. And so that's one of the things that we do here at ThreatER.
The impact of these threats can be significant for businesses. How are these vulnerabilities affecting organizations, and what's at stake if they're not addressed?
Yeah, so again, kind of two things I'd call out. The first is the obvious, right? So vulnerabilities are leading to attacks. Attacks are leading to loss of data. Attacks are leading to, ransomware and all, these terrible events that you're hearing happen every single day, that can lead to, bad business outcomes, right? And, not only are businesses losing when that happens, but consumers are losing as well. We're all hearing every day about our data, getting stolen in some cyber attack that's happening quite a bit. But the bigger issue for me, that we're kind of seeing in the industry is complacency. So, we're seeing more and more, as the vulnerabilities get more sophisticated and the attacks get more sophisticated, we're seeing the entire industry just kind of, assume that attacks are going to happen and you just have to deal with them when they happen. We actually don't believe that, but we are seeing this kind of complacency becoming a really, really big problem in the industry for sure.
For MSPs who are often on the front lines, staying prepared is critical. What's your advice for them to be proactive against these threats?
Yeah, so there's really kind of three major things that we always talk about, that we tell our customers and, potential customers. The first is, there's, a couple of these things are just really simple things, right? So you have to change your passwords regularly. That's something that we always encourage people to do. That's obviously not something that we deal with, but that's, something that just is good hygiene. The second is, patching all of your software, right? A lot of times when you read about these attacks, it's because software wasn't patched. Unfortunately, patching software is part of the business. You have to do these things, but it's one of the most crucial things you can do to kind of protect your attack surfaces. Make sure that you're applying software updates across the board. And then the third, which is, kind of in our sweet spot, is network security. You have to have really good network security. And, firewall, these days is not the only thing you need. You need multiple layers of network security. That's where ThreatER steps in. We can actually make, the existing tools that you have more powerful and make them better part of your security stack, but you have to have great network security. That's the third thing.
Let's make this real for our audience. Can you share an example of how ThreatER has helped an organization tackle a major cloud security issue?
Yeah, so there's a couple things I would say. One is, we hear all the time from our customers this kind of outbound use case. So we like to call ourselves the first line of defense and the last line of defense. So oftentimes what we hear from our customers is something made it through, several layers of a security stack. Let's say it's an email phishing scam or something like that. Makes it through a firewall, it may even make it through ThreatER. It may make it through, an email security system, et cetera. But when that user clicks on the outbound link, we stop it on the way out because we know that that person that they're trying to talk to is a known threat actor. And so we'll stop them on the outbound. So that's the first one. The second one is, just as a very specific example, we have a university customer, that is seeing some very significant attacks and regular sustained attacks, from Iran. we're blocking anywhere from like 10 to 20 billion threats every single day for that one customer because, they're using our platform and they're blocking that traffic really, really efficiently. And then the last, more kind of general bit that I would talk about is, we offer a hybrid deployment. So, one of the things that is really, really kind of important in the industry right now is making sure that you're applying rules, across all of your different ecosystems, right? So you may be on-prem in one area, maybe in the cloud in one area, maybe you're in a data center in another area. You have to be able to kind of deploy and enforce all of your data, across all of those ecosystems.
Now that we've covered cloud security challenges, let's talk about how ThreatER helps businesses take a smarter approach to cybersecurity with our second segment. Unlocking the power of threat intelligence at scale. Brian, threat intelligence plays a vital role in cybersecurity today. How does ThreatER leverage its capabilities to provide proactive and scalable defenses for businesses?
Yeah, so the first thing is, I'll talk a little bit about kind of how threat intelligence has evolved, right? So many, many years ago when the, next gen firewalls that were built, 15 to 20 years ago were built, there wasn't as much threat intelligence in the industry as there is today. Well, now there are many, many players out there providing fantastic data around kind of where threat actors are, what IP addresses they're working on, what domains they're working on, et cetera. So the world has kind of evolved, quite a bit. Most of the security controls that people are using to deploy and enforce threat intelligence haven't evolved. So the firewall, even the biggest, Palo Altos typically can only handle about 150,000 third-party IPs. We can handle about 150 million, and we can manage, deploy, and enforce all of that, all in real time, constantly keeping it updated, right? So the basic idea is being able to block every single known threat actor coming into or leaving your network, traffic to that threat actor out of your network, all in real time.
What sets ThreatER's approach to threat intelligence apart from other cybersecurity platforms?
Yeah, so there's a couple things I'd call out here. So the first is we keep it very, very simple, right? So there's a lot of sophistication that happens inside of our network, but as we get to that point of enforcement, we take a lot of really complex rules and we make it really, really simple at the point of enforcement. So once you get down to that point of enforcement, we're basically saying, are you on the list or are you off the list? And we make that decision very simple and very fast, and that allows us to kind of do things at a scale that other people can't because we're making that decision so quickly. That means, effectively we're not providing any latency, and so there's no additional latency that comes out of our platform. And in fact, when you have our platform in place, because we're blocking so much traffic so much more efficiently, we believe it actually improves overall latency. And then the last thing I would say is, we really spend a lot of time kind of focusing on when you have as much data as we have in your platform, you really have to focus on kind of the false positive problem, right? So one of the reasons why people are, kind of a little bit concerned or maybe, are worried about deploying threat intelligence is maybe they've had a bad experience with false positives in the past. Well, we really are kind of educating our customers and really, creating great features around the idea of, not only being able to solve the false positive problem and making sure that we can get to the places we want to go, but also helping people with what we call unexpected blocks. And unexpected blocks are, when a data provider validly puts an IP address or a domain on a blocker, a list, a threat list, and they're telling the customer, look, I know you really want to get to this site, but there's a valid reason why you shouldn't be going to it. Well, our job as the threat intelligence platform behind the scenes is to make sure that, that our users have all of the data that they need to make that decision very quickly. So we give them all of the data to say, here's all the reasons why we think you shouldn't be going to this IP address. But if you want to, click this button, make it very, very simple, and allow them to get to the places that they want to get to. So it's one of the things we're really focused on this year.
Attack vectors are getting more complex. How can MSPs use ThreatER solutions to protect their clients?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. The biggest reason why attack vectors are getting so complex is because the bad guys are really smart, right? And they're getting smarter. There's always this vision of the hacker sitting in the basement. Well, guess what? These are very sophisticated organizations. They have sister organizations. They're very well funded. And so, they're getting more complex. And, what we try to do is we try to actually make it way more simple, right? So what we're trying to do is not focus on any specific type of attack, but the threat actor themselves. So whether they come at you with one type of attack on one day or another attack, the next day of a different type, we don't really care. We're stopping the threat actor, and we don't care what type of attack they're deploying. So it makes it very simple for us to be able to stop them from coming in.
Integration can sometimes be a sticking point for organizations. How does ThreatER work seamlessly with the tools companies already have in place?
So a couple of things I'd say here. One is, we're very easy to install. So it takes about 30 minutes to kind of get our platform up and running, and you could be protected in about 30 minutes. The second is, we can run virtually on any existing, box that an MSP may have in place. So if you already have, it's infrastructure in place and you want to deploy us virtually on that box, you can do so. All we need is 2 cores and 4 gig of RAM, really, really, low resources to be able to do what we're doing. The next piece is the integration. So, we provide a ton of data to all of our customers, but on top of that, we have tons of integrations with all of the data sources you want. So if you're a recorded future customer or an FSISAC customer or any customer of any of the major threat intelligence providers, we have integrations for you. We also have open data connectors to allow you to connect to any data source you want. And then 2 last things I would call out. One is we have an incredible syslog export feature that allows you to take all of the great data that comes out of our platform and ingest it into any tool you want. So if you want it in your SIEM, we can do that. If you just want it in a syslog export parser, be able to parse it afterwards, you can do that. And then lastly, and I would say most importantly, everything we do is API first. So by using our APIs, you can integrate our tools at any security tool you want. So if you have a tool that you love to be able to kind of integrate, you can use our APIs to do that. You don't have to ever log into our experience if you don't want to.
Now that we've seen how ThreatER protects businesses, let's turn our focus to how they're helping partners enhance their cybersecurity offerings with our final segment. Segment 3, empowering MSPs through the ThreatER Partner Program. Shayna, turning to you, ThreatER's Partner Program seems like a great resource for MSPs. Can you tell us what key benefits can they expect?
Absolutely. Our MSP partners can expect sales enablement resources, technical training, onboarding, and co-marketing opportunities. We also encourage our partners to take advantage of our flexible licensing model. They can pay as they grow their business or do bulk license orders.
Scalability is a big deal for MSPs. How does ThreatER's API access and scalability help them better protect their clients?
ThreatER is simple to use. It's vendor agnostic, and it is effective at reducing the overall exposure through known sources of cyber attacks. We have found that it scales much better than our competition through some of our own testing that we've done, and it allows our users to operationalize threat intelligence at scale with no additional latency. We built the platform with MSPs in mind. We do have an architecture that is parent-child. This allows the MSPs to manage companies both individually or in groups. And lastly, our APIs are just incredibly robust. We're able to easily integrate and allows our MSPs to use our systems in the way that they prefer and able to choose the best way to use us.
Do you have any success stories from MSPs who have partnered with ThreatER and had great results?
Yes. I love to talk about one of our partners who have completely embedded our technology into their technology stack. This allows their existing systems to work more effectively and for them to scale more quickly with their new ThreatER business. They're able to do so utilizing our APIs that we provide at no cost to our partners. We also have another MSP partner that I like to talk about who is utilizing our threat risk assessment API more as a sales tool to help garner and build more demand for the ThreatER service that they offer.
Finally, for MSPs interested in partnering with ThreatER, what kind of support and training can they expect from your team?
We offer a very streamlined onboarding process. We're there from you from beginning to end with, constant check-ins and more opportunities to grow the business together. We also offer, co-marketing, co-sponsorship, MDF available for, our strong strategic partners. And lastly, I would say our dedicated sales support. We are with you from business operations, technical support, and customer success perspectives.
It's great to hear how you are there with them from start to finish. Thank you so much, Shayna and Brian, for joining me and sharing your insights into how ThreatER is tackling today's toughest cybersecurity challenges.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
To learn more about ThreatER and how it can support your cybersecurity needs, visit the website on your screen. For the Channel Company, I'm Sydney Neely. Thanks for watching.